Guys, welcome to the Professor Putricide 25 heroic encounter. Arguably the second hardest encounter in ICC. It's Lich King, Professor Putricide, and Sindragosa. What you have to do right now is put your portal where all warlocks put it, right there. So you need to DPS midway between where the green will appear right here and that portal. So if you get targeted, see here my macro shows I can port, and you can port and prolong the green lifespan until it comes to you so people kill it. But our DPS is so good, it probably won't matter that much, I'll be honest with you, but it's very, very good practice, even for 25 normals. What we're going to do is always focus Professor Putricide. We're going to try to pre-pot, get an empowered corruption on his ass, and we're going to try to keep it for the entire duration of the fight, as much as we can. And that is going to be great DPS. I'm going to pre-pot now, and of course somebody charged, and yes, let's hope we get a Devious Mind proc. We might not. Statistically, I've raided so much, I know I'm not going to get it this try, but right. I'm going to move out of this ooze right after I apply my dot, so I can life tap while moving. We got an eradication now, which is decent proc. And now we're going to reapply Haunt. We're still in range to port. I have Unbound Plague, somebody took it off me instantly, which is bad. And I'm going to reapply Haunt now, and I'm just going to target the boss. The ooze. I need to put it on somebody. Focus Haunt. I had to drain soul a bit because they went ham. They took the boss way into Narnia, and I couldn't keep up 7 dots like I explained. So I am on going to reapply corruption because Devious Mind gets stronger. And we are on orange, and we have to lose a decent. We're going to probably lose some DPS here, which is bad. And I'm trying to dot while I fly, and we're going to reapply corruption on this one. And the other one is unfortunately in Narnia, and for some reason we cannot get to it. I'm trying to focus on so we don't lose our corruption, and focus on stable. One more shadow bolt and I should drain life. Drain soul. I'm sorry, this is pretty hard. Okay, that proc went. We went inside, so we don't get malleable goo. We lost haunt, but that is fine. Well, we're going to have to use boots here, and we're going to try to maybe keep corruption on the boss, and I lost it, which is pretty bad. So we're losing DPS right now. It's fine. It's always better not to wipe the raid if you can, instead of trying to be pro. Maybe you'll get better in time and you'll do it way better than me. I did it really poorly this time, I admit it. But the explanations, I hope, were there. Malleable goo is coming. I'm going to use unstable even though it didn't run out. And I'm going to move a bit in case it goes on to me. Shadow Bolt, focus Haunt to keep corruption and Haunt on the boss. Drain souling this, it's a good practice, but as you can see, our damage is so high. It's really improbable that it's going to do anything. That's how much damage we have right now in this group. It is the main group after all. Necrotic is coming out. We should be careful of that. If we get it, not to insta-pass it, because that is a big mistake, and people might get actually... we might actually get... I forgot what I was going to say. I'll just keep DPSing Glass Scout. Sorry guys, it's pretty difficult right now. Reapplying unstable. I have to drain life for the corruption not to run out. Don't be afraid to do that, especially if you have bad reaction times like I do. We'll just try to be top by the end as a range DPS. I'm going to try to mini burst right now, which means using my focus on stable, trying to keep all 7 dots up. going hard on the volatile ooze, and the volatile ooze is dead. Like we tested before with this range, with this raid DPS, we literally cannot. They said stop on boss. I'm just going to try to cheat like this and try to keep up corruption. And now orange is going to go out. It's probably safe to use dots. And we're going really hard right now. And I'm going to port. Okay, we lost a lot of DPS. And ooze is dead. It was a bit of a chance. They said let all the dots run out, which I did. Unfortunately, that cost us some DPS, but it should be fine. Let's hope we do not get the orange juice again. I'm going to try to stack with them for this one, which is really important. I'll drain soul right while I'm here. This is a very bad spot, but my boots ran out, which is fine. And I'm trying to DPS while I'm in the air for this. I'll try to focus Haunt. And yes, the gas cloud should be going down soon. Focus Agony. And boom. And everything ran out of the boss, but we had to focus there a lot more because they weren't actually doing anything, and we are actually in the execution phase, which we'll try to do. I took the plague out. I'm going to reapply corruption because it ran out. I'm going to try to keep this longer, but it doesn't matter because they're whacking all over people that have the debuff. We have mini bust up. Oh, and eradication and devious minds. This should be great. Except somebody keeps giving us the this was a bad idea coming here. It was so long I didn't actually check who it was on, so we lost some DPS, and it's probably dead by now. I know this was a bad try out of me. I'm apologize for the bad execution because, like I said, it's really hard to talk and explain and do this particular encounter. Sindragosa is much easier. But anyway, you have to put your portal to the wall so you can port in case the green ooze targets you first. You have to try to dot for procs the ooze that you're not on, and 3-dot shadow bolt the ooze that you really have to kill, and if possible avoid malleable goose, and if possible pass the plague later than 1 second, and if possible stack for every ooze eruption, which is the green explosion. It's a lot to do. Sometimes you execute it perfectly, sometimes you don't, and depending on the range DPS you'll get to drain soul the ooze that you're killing or not. In this particular raid, just like you'll see on spirits, you'll only get to drain soul once because the DPS is pretty big. I hope this helped you position yourself better. Maybe try to take on this boss. For Affliction Warlock to do top DPS here, it is probably the hardest boss to do top DPS. But you're also going to be top DPS because you can keep the dots up all the time. You have great mobility with your portal, and this is the fight that is going to dictate how good of a warlock you are. You just need to practice it, and if it's about losing DPS or getting hit by malleable goo, or losing DPS and not stacking and the raid wiping, please always choose to lose DPS. It's not that big of a deal. Your prio will be the same. This guild uses EPGP. So that was the Professor Putricide encounter. It wasn't my best ever try, but I hope it was decent enough, and I hope the tips and tricks will help you play a better warlock. See you on the next boss.